Test one, two, three, three, two, one, test out. Test one, two, three, three, two, one. Test one, two. Test. Any better? Three, two, one. Test one, two, three, three, two, one.
All right, good evening, everyone. A work session of the Board of Trustees of Harlandale ISD is being started today, Wednesday, April 10th, 2024, beginning at 6:15, is now 6:16 p.m. here at Central Office PDC. So we're gonna go ahead and call the meeting to order, but before then, if we can have Miss Ortiz, she wanted to share some condolences.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would just like to extend our condolences to the family of James Flores. He died this past Sunday, and his son, J.R. Flores, is a senior at Harlandale High School. And J.R. has played baseball. That's how I know their family, because JJ played baseball at Five Diamonds. JR played baseball at Five Diamonds. So I know them for a long time, but our heartfelt condolences go out to the family. And Sonia, I wanted you to know that we're thinking about you.
So if you can, guys, join us for a moment of silence, please. Thank you, everyone. So moving on to roll call and recording of board members' presence. If we can go ahead and have our clickers ready to go. Remember, we all have ours. Should be readily available near to us. All right, the voting is open. All right, we can close the vote. All right, so we do declare a quorum present. We were informed that Mr. Mancha would be unable to join us today, so we wish him the best if there's any issues concerning. Moving on to, before we go recording the superintendent, we do have Dr. Castleberry here with us, so welcome, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Item C, which is recording the superintendent and staff members present. Mr. Soto, please.
Yes, Mr. Chair, Board of Trustees, HISD Community. This evening, we have our Assistant Superintendent for Business and Finance, Mr. Flores.
Here.
We have our Executive Director of Operations, Dr. Hinojosa.
Here.
We have our Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction, Ms. Casey.
Here.
We have our Executive Director of Human Resources, Dr. Salinas.
Here.
And we have our Public Information Officer, Ms. Vieira.
Here.
All right, and Ms. Juarez, there is no public comment, correct? All right, thank you, ma'am. So moving on to item 3, announce the required continuing education board members for each sitting board member. So we'll go ahead and I can go ahead and announce that. So for the continuing education credits for Harlandale ISD board members are from May 2023 through April 2024. Level 1 is local district orientation. We do have Miss Erica Salazar. For level 2 orientation to the Texas Education Code, Erica Salazar as well. These are the initial trainings that are applicable towards any due trustee. Level 3 post legislative update to the Texas Education Code, not applicable at the moment for any of us. Level 4 team building training with all board members and superintendent. We have everyone in compliance with that, all standing board members. Additional continuing education requirements. Additionally, every current standing board member, Ms. Salazar, will have hers shortly. Evaluating student academic performance and setting goals. We have all according, and then we have Mr. Mancha and Ms. Salazar that will get those up to speed. And then also level 7, identifying and reporting abuse, trafficking, and other maltreatment of children. We have Mr. Ricardo Moreno, Ms. Norma Cavazos, Becky Ruiz, and Mr. Louis Luna. And then we have Ms. Erica Salazar as well. And then we'll have Mr. Mancha and Ms. Ortiz continue on getting that credit. Level 8, which is school safety, we have myself, Ricardo Moreno, Mr. Juan Mancha, Mr. Louis Luna, Ms. Norma Cavazos as well. And we'll have obviously Ms. Reese, Ms. Ortiz, and Ms. Salazar getting their continuing credit scores as well. Board members exceeding required continuing education are myself, Ricardo Moreno, Mr. Louis Luna, Ms. Norma Cavazos. As of now, board members deficient in required continuing education, but we'll surely get them done are Ms. Ortiz, Mr. Mancha, Ms. Reese, and Ms. Salazar. So moving on to item 4, the board focused on student outcomes 76% of the time in the March work session and regular board meeting. Commending all of us. I don't know if Dr. Castleberry would like to share her remarks as well. I know they were pretty nice to hear the other day.
I think that's cause for celebration. You're on the right track. That's really exceptional. Half that would be great, but you just go the extra mile, and that's on behalf of your kids. So I'm glad to see you doing that. Thank you.
Yep, always aim for perfection so we can always meet excellence. So thank you. Item 4, the board will conduct a work session with the superintendent and staff. So Mr. Soto will go into item 6, which is a presentation of the district's family engagement efforts and activities to facilitate parent involvement. I'm assuming that's Ms. Gallegos and her team.
Ms.
Or-
Gallegos, you and your team would kindly step up.
Good evening, Board of Trustees, Mr. Soto, Dr. Castleberry, Cabinet, and everyone else. I'm Reina Gallegos. I'm the Director of Student Support Services, Special Programs and Purchasing at Harlandale ISD. Along with me are Nicole Davis, Family Engagement Coordinator for Harlandale ISD, and Danielle Grant Stanfield, After School Programs Coordinator, and ACE Project Director. Nicole will be presenting on the family engagement efforts and activities for the district.
Thank you. Good evening, Board of Trustees, Superintendent Ms. Soto, and Cabinet. I'm super excited to be here to tell you about all the wonderful things happening thus far in Harlandale ISD with family engagement. So we can get the PowerPoint, great. So I wanted to start off with a quote. Family engagement goes beyond involvement and emphasizing building partnerships between families, schools, and communities to support children's learning and development. It involves ongoing communication, collaboration, mutual respect between educators and families. So I started off with that quote because we do a really good job as a district, from district-wide initiatives to campus initiatives to our extended day programs, working collaboratively with our parents to involve them in multiple capacities. On our district-wide initiatives that partner with our campuses, we really try and align it with our district improvement plan, focusing on mental and physical health, wellness, academic, parenting skills, CCMR skills, adult education classes where we're investing in our parents to assist them in furthering their education. We currently have ESL. We're looking to do GED next school year because we find that that is a very large need in our area. We also provide large community events and collaborations with the campus levels and communication. Some of our highlighted ones are our Back to School Bash and our district family fall and spring night. Which way should I point this? Okay, thank you. So looking at our elementary schools, at the beginning of the school year, we have a building capacity training that is at every campus. It's Title I, working with our staff. And at those meetings, we discuss things on how we can support them at the campus level, improving their family engagement and their parent involvement. We give them resources of how they can reach out throughout the school year to support them. Those resources could be guest speakers, community partners, student incentives, or even parent or guardian raffles or drawings to incentivize the parents to attend. They do a really good job of highlighting some of the stuff that happens individually at the campus. So this is an overview of the activities that you'll see at the elementary, from open house to parenting classes that are provided by Methodists that are housed at the elementary campus. So we're having that collaboration of having the parents come into the campus, feeling like they're a part of the campus and learning with staff that might drop in, and then with our community partners. We also have extension during after school program that provides stuff like ACE Market Days. And then we have STAR and academic nights, right? So that's where our parents can come in, work with their children in different activities, focus on that content area that is supported by curriculum instruction and our family engagement programs. At our middle school, we do the same thing with our building capacity. Again, visiting all the campuses, working with their staff at the beginning of the year, seeing how we can support them. They do very similar activities, but that's when we really get into a larger parent involvement with our UIL activities, right? Our competitive fine arts and athletics. They have done a fanatical job, I'll say this, because we've grown every year since I've been in this position, working with them to continue on some of the success that we see in the elementary into the middle school. So we're seeing more cafecitos at our middle schools where the parents are being invited in for morning coffee with the social worker or the principal. And then we'll even have sometimes the assigned campus police officer talk with the parents about things that are going on, whether that's safety, vaping, or different drills that they might be seeing on social media, so they're aware and knowledgeable of the stuff happening. At our high schools, it continues on, same thing. We do our building capacity training with them, working collaboratively on how we can fit their needs. This is where we see it change a little bit, going into a little bit more future-ready nights where the parents are invited in, where it can be STEM night, CTE night, college night. Recently, this past year, we know attendance is an area of that we're all working to get better at. And so our high schools have hosted attendance nights where they're inviting parents in and explaining to them why it's important for them and their student to work together to get to school, and the funding that is attached to that and how that funding goes back into their students' classroom. We also have extracurricular activities that expands more in our high school level, going all the way from athletics to esports. And our parents show up, you know, when their student is involved in something, showcasing something, our parents are there. That's one thing I love about our Harlandale parents. If I reach out and I'm like, hey, I heard you're interested in XYZ, they're like, how do I sign up? Or if I can't go to that time, if you host it at this time, can you change it? So we're always working with our campuses and our programming to adjust our times to fit our parents' needs. And then I can talk all day about family engagement. But what better way to talk about family engagement than hearing it from some of our parents?
Hi, my name is Delia Franco. I have 3 kids. 2 of them are already married. One lives in Oklahoma, the other one is here in San Antonio. And the third one, my youngest one, he goes to Kingsborough Middle School with the Harlandale District. Strengthening families. I went to the symposium at Bel Air, and I participate also in family nights. There's other courses that I've taken: vaping, internet safety, love and logic, raising highly capable kids, welcome to the cyber world, and stress and management also. What I liked about the strengthening families, the evening that we did it at Kingsborough Middle School, was that I saw it more like spending time more with my son, and also being more social with other parents, and my son also being social with other kids, because most of the time we would spend at home just being at home doing nothing or getting ready for the next day. And during that class, we were able to talk, be more interacted between both of us after the class in the evenings, for the reason that I was taught the same topic as my son was. And for my son, the best part was the meals.
Mi nombre es Eugenia Celestino, tengo 2 hijos, uno ya trabaja y tengo a mi hija Paris que está en la high school, y he participado en muchos eventos. Por ejemplo, desde hace años atrás estuve participando de voluntaria en la Morro. Estuve mucho tiempo allí haciendo trabajos en la oficina, ayudando a decorar los eventos que había ahí, y ahí mismo di unas clases de padres también. Hice en Sosa una clase 2 días por varias horas, y nos entrenaron para poder dar clases, y di clases en la escuela Morro. Y de ahí empecé a hacer clases en Sosa, participado en Zumba, he participado en tecnología, en nutrición, educación mental. Híjole, son muchísimas. Y una de las clases es en la universidad, y participé en una clase que es para las universidades de familia. Bueno, y más que nada, también participé en criando niños altamente capaces, fortaleciendo las familias. Sí, y más que nada, todas estas clases que yo he participado en lo personal me ha ayudado muchísimo en cómo manejar las cosas de la escuela, en cosas que nos causan alguna cosa que podamos decir, necesito hacer algo y lo hago, no se me cierra el mundo como quien dice, sé a dónde ir, con quién hablar y más que nada me ha ayudado muchísimo en ayudar a otros papás porque me preguntan, oye, ¿cuándo esto? ¿Y cómo le hago esto? Entonces yo ya tengo esa capacidad de poderles decir algo más de información para que ellas puedan venir y les digo que vengan a las clases y pues eso es todo.
Thank you. So Miss Celestino that was there at the end when I talked to her and I said, hey, do you want to talk about family engagement and some of the stuff you did at your district and the campuses? Her video was like 10 minutes long. Okay. She participates in so many things and she's such a great cheerleader for Harlandale and getting other parents involved from the campus as well. So. And that's the end of my presentation. Is there any questions?
All right, any comments, concerns, or clarifications needed on this parent involvement, please?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
I can't say enough about how wonderful it is that every time I go and look at the website, there's something else you all have added. Another training session, another event, another community involved event. What I really think is outstanding is that you all don't just cater to the families and parents that are available from 8 to 5. It's, you know, that a lot of us are just getting out of work at 5 o'clock and we would love to spend time at the schools and with our kids and engage in what they're engaging. And I just applaud you for always keeping that in mind. You always keep in mind that not everybody has an 8 to 5 job or they're stay at home or they work remote. There's some of us that still have to get out of work at 5 and, you know, rush over to get to an event. And I really applaud that you all take that into consideration each and every time, making it accessible to everybody. So thank you. There's just not enough I can say because every time I turn on to look at what's happening at the Sosa Family Engagement Center, it's like something else. And I love it. So thank you so much for that. Thank you. I know it takes a lot of work. So thank you.
Well, we work with all the campuses, so thank you.
All right, any other comments, concerns, or clarification needed? No. And it's great just to the note, all the wraparound services that are provided. So that's something that a lot of districts nearby are trying to emulate. So I always definitely share that with them. Look at our parent, pupil personnel or student services. Those are the groups that are definitely leading certain charges towards meeting those needs of our kids. So thank you guys. So if there's no comments or concerns or clarification needed, we'll move on to the next piece. Thank y'all. Items 7 will be conducted at our regular board meeting. So we'll move forward to item 8, which is the board will review and discuss the district textbook instructional materials adoption committee's recommended instructional material titles series for state instructional materials adoption proclamation 2024 for career and technical education. Mr. Soto.
Yes, Mr. Chair, Board of Trustees, Ms. Casey and Ms. Woody would be presenting these next 3 items.
Yes, thank you. We have the items 8, 9, 10, and 11. And all of them will relate to a district textbook committee and a new adoption, as well as a certification that we're required to do. This begins on page 13 of your board book. And Ms. Sidoni Woody, she is our instructional materials coordinator, and she is head of our libraries. She will also be available for questions. I don't know if you would. She's a little nervous, but I told her she'd do great.
Welcome, ma'am. It's Ms. Woody. And whenever you guys are ready, Ms. Casey.
Sorry, I apologize. Yes, so it's the science for the adoption for the proclamation 2024. We, as a committee, each principal submitted a name to be a representative for the campus. And we did many Zooms and discussed the top 5 out of like 20 something vendors. And from the 5, then we went down to 3. And then from the 3, the campuses decided, and then also the board decided to pick the number 1, which is the STEM scopes, which we have at the present time, but we will be continuing it for the next 4 years. Are there any questions with that?
Is there
Sorry.
comments, concerns, or clarification again related to some STEM scopes? Okay. Continue on, Ms. Woody, please.
Okay, and then through first, also we're doing, since we're doing K through 12 science, we also did 6 through 8, which is part of secondary. And the 6 through 8 committee and all the teachers on each campus decided to adopt the Savvis, which is one company that we already have, but they liked all the products. So we're requesting that we adopt Savvis for 6 through 8 teachers. And for high school, we have several different, of course, subjects. In high school, we have chemistry, biology, and physics. We also have IPC, but that will be in the next board meeting. For chemistry, they decided to go with STEM scopes, so that'll be all. And it was all the chemistry teachers in high school that decided on that. Biology was STEM scopes. And physics was Savvis. So that's what their decision, we decided. And with all the meetings that we've had, with our Zooms, we had the Zoom presentation for all the vendors with all the committee members also, and the teachers to see which ones they also wanted to select. Are there any questions? Oh, sorry, Mr. Moreno. Okay, and so for our next one is our CTE, Department Career and Technical Education. We had all the CTE meet through Zooms, and we were very fortunate to have an expo at our Makerspace building. And so all the vendors came and presented to all the teachers that teach anything that deals with CTE. And they were able to ask some questions and review all the products and everything. And then they were the ones that decided on what product they wanted. So it's very different products from different companies and curriculum. For medical microbiology, they decided on ICEV multimedia. For forensic science, cybersecurity, Capstone. Digital forensics, they decided on Cengage. Computer science 1 and 2, fundamentals of computer science, fundamentals of cybersecurity. They decided on Code HS. For human growth and development, health science theory, medical assistant, medical terminology, pathophysiology, biotechnology, principles of applied engineering. They decided on E-dynamic holding. So all these resources, I'm sorry, we have a couple of more. We have instructional practices, principles of education and training, anatomy and physiology, Goodhart-Wilcox they decided on. So every vendor, each teacher decided on what they wanted, and as a committee, they decided to bring this to the board to see if that will be approved. Our next one will be with Proclamation 2024 is technology applications for K through 8. We had a Zoom meeting with presentations with all the vendors, and the committee decided on going with learning.com, not only for K through 8 technology applications, but also for the 6th and 7th grade courses that will be taught in the 24-25 school year. Are there any questions or?
If I could
Oh,
just add, Ms.
yes,
Woody,
I'm sorry.
all of this is funded through our instructional materials allotment funds.
Mhm.
So they're funds specific to our textbooks and our proclamations for each year.
Yes, Ms. Salazar.
So thank you so much for sharing. So I understand, I haven't seen the textbooks in quite some time, but for these STEM scopes, are we able to, is that just based on the concepts, or are they able to utilize information to do the hands-on labs?
Yeah, they're able to do the hands-on, but everything is online. So
Okay.
they're able to do that. Yes, ma'am.
So then are we able to monitor the utilization that teachers are using that in the classroom?
Yes,
and
we
student
are.
engagement with
I'm
that?
sorry. Yes, ma'am, we are.
Okay,
Yes.
perfect.
With all the programs, we're able to go in and see exactly how many times they're being logged into, like with the students and the teachers, and how they're utilizing them and everything. And also the science department is reinforcing that with whatever they need with manipulatives and all that.
Perfect. I would love to see that in future data, because I know that we're working to increase our our star scores in
In
science?
Science, yes, ma'am.
Mhm. Perfect, thank you.
All right. Any other comments, concerns or clarification needed on this piece? Was that the conclusion of all the information, Ms. Woody?
Yes, yes, sir. The other one was the TEKS,
Oh, the recertification? Yeah.
yes, the certification. That's it. That's
All
it.
right.
Yes, sir.
No, well, it seems like everything's in good standing order. I know they provided us with the information of the committee members as well, so I think it was a pretty thorough increase. You had something else, Ms. Sullivan?
Sorry, I remember the TEKS clarification document, that's a trifold one, correct?
We have TEKS clarification in our TEKS resource system, which is
Mhm.
separate from here, so
Mhm.
it's actually online.
Okay.
It's probably changed from that time, but that is
Mhm.
still available.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Okay, great. I just want to know, like, for future, Ms. Casey, like how the curriculum instruction team is going to be providing professional development for the teachers to align with our district improvement plan.
Okay.
Thank you.
So there were any further comments or concerns or any other clarifications needed? Oh, if that's the case, thank you, Ms. Woody. Appreciate you
Thanks.
coming and joining us and providing that information. And Ms. Casey, is that the totality of the presentation?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and so we discussed items 8 through 11. So everyone that's aware, 8 through 11 is the items that were presented by Ms. Woody. All right, so moving on to item 12, the board will review and discuss the National Institute for Excellence in Teaching and IET agreement to support the development of literacy framework in the amount of $125,000 to be funded through the Strong Foundation Planning Grant. Mr. Soto, is that Ms. Casey?
Yes, sir, Ms. Case.
Yes, sir. We recently applied and were awarded a $250,000 grant. It's in Strong Foundation in the area of literacy. Part of the grant requires that 50% of it be used to partner with an organization. And the other 50% is we have some discretion on how we use that. That is something we're still planning on. We met with a few vendors, and the vendor we selected was National Institute of Education. We actually work with them now. They work with T-test and calibration. What they will do is we have deliverables for the grant. There's a specific criteria we have to submit to TEA. This partner will walk us through. They'll work with the literacy team that will form. It's going to very closely align with our strategic plan and what we have outlined in our strategic plan. And we'll be working through a framework. We'll be looking at some of the research-based instructional strategies that TA is rolling out. We'll develop a plan for training. And then, of course, we will also be training all of our staff, which we have started already, but that will be a full implementation with the help of our partner.
Any comments, concerns, or clarification needed on the NIET? No? Okay. So moving on to item 13, the board will review and discuss the budget amendments to the general fund and the general fund sub-funds of the Child Nutrition Program for the 2023-2024 fiscal year in various amounts. Mr. Soto, is that Mr. Flores?
Yes, sir, Mr. Flores.
Yes, sir. Good evening, Mr. Moreno, Board President, members of the board, and Mr. Soto, Superintendent of Schools and Community. This board item is to present a budget amendment for the general fund and for the Child Nutrition Fund for the current fiscal year. The general fund revenues are being increased. Oh, I'm sorry, the general fund there's a movement of $16,800 within functions for a campus for additional support. And then for the Child Nutrition Fund, we are increasing our commodities and revenues by $262,000, and we're increasing the expenses by the same amount. And this is in page 24 of your board book.
Okay. Any comments, concerns, or clarification needed on this item? All right, we'll move on to the next one, Mr. Flores, which is the board will review and discuss to adopt a written instrument stating that the board has reviewed the investment policy and investment strategies in accordance with board policy CDA. Mr. Flores,
Yes.
still, Mr. Soto? Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So item number 14 and 15 go hand in hand. Item number 14, in accordance with board policy, CDA legal, the board must annually adopt a written instrument stating that it has presented for the review the district's investment policy and investment strategies. In meeting this requirement, staff has included both policies as part of your board book, legal and local, which delineates the district's current investment policy and investment strategies. The policy being presented does not have any changes from the previous year's policy. So it is attached to your board book as well.
Any comments, concerns, or clarification needed on this piece? So we'll move on to the next one, Mr. Flores, which is the board will review and discuss a list of qualified brokers and investment pools to be authorized to engage in investment transactions with the district in accordance with board policy CDA.
So board policy CDA requires us to list the qualified brokers within the investment pools. So we do have the list of brokers that we're recommending for approval. This is the current list that we have, and we would like to continue utilizing the same brokers.
All right. Any other comments, concerns, or clarification related to this piece presented by Mr. Flores? All right. So we'll move on, Mr. Flores, to number 16, which is the board will review and discuss to award IFB 2093 for promotional products and supplies to 37 vendors with funding from the district campus and department approved budgets. Mr. Soto.
Yes, this will be under purchasing, which is Ms. Gallegos.
Good evening again. I'm Reina Gallegos. Harlandale ISD went out for bid for promotional items and supplies. Harlandale ISD invited a total of 1,174 vendors, and of those, 37 vendors responded and submitted a bid. Harlandale ISD is recommending that IFB 2093 for promotional products and supplies be approved and awarded to the 37 multi-vendors that were evaluated and reviewed. This contract is for 1 year from board award date with 4 one-year renewals. The purchases will be made by campus or department budgets. Do y'all have any questions?
Any comments, concerns, or clarification needed on this piece?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
if I may, Ms. Gallegos, just a quick question of the 37, are they all repeat vendors with our district, or there's some that are new?
Some are repeat and some we have new. But the repeats outweigh the new vendors.
Thank
Mhm.
you.
I don't know, Mr. Soto, did you want to kind of clarify just how the uniformity will assist?
Yes, Mr. Chair, Board of Trustees, we've implemented doing this promotional IFBs recently. It's been like the last 2 to 3 years. We believe that it was a better systematic way of us being able to track expenditures on some of these vendors and making sure that we stayed within the policy of not going over. And so, as you know, we have a lot of local vendors that did submit their purchasing. I want to give you kudos for working hand in hand with some of them, because some of them are not technology savvy. You're out there and reaching out to them by phone and having them come in and then guiding them through, right, Ms. Olivia? I believe Ms. Olivia is here for that. And so basically, Mr. Moreno, Board of Trustees, it's any promotional item that a campus has, some swag shirts, promotional keychains, bumper stickers, or whatever they have that the campus purchase, and some departments. This is the list that they will be choosing from, and or a co-op list.
All right, thank you for clarifying that, sir. Anything additionally that anybody has any comments, concerns, clarification needed? No. All right, well, thank you for that piece, Ms. Gallegos.
Thank you.
Sir. Moving on to item 17, the board will review and discuss the request to negotiate and award RFCSP 2099 HISD Career Technology Education Building, CTE, to RL Road General Contracting for an estimated amount of $2,050,431 to be funded from the HISD Bond 2022 program. Mr. Soto, is that Dr. Inosa?
Yes, sir, Dr. Hinojosa.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. So for this particular item that we'll be seeking to award and to be able to negotiate with the contractor, thanks to the help of Ms. Gallegos' team with procurement, we did put the renovations for the Carol Bell Education Center to become the CTE building, or the Career and Technology Education Building for us. We did put it out for bid. We had 4 companies that entered the submittal in times of meeting the requirements that we had. So a committee of myself, the Director of Maintenance, Mr. Reyna, and also our Facilities Coordinator, along with our architects that are overseeing the project, we reviewed the submittals. And after reviewing it and making sure that they met and exceeded the needs of our students in the district, and to be able to complete in a timely fashion in order for us to start school, at the beginning of next school year to have students in the CTE building, we'll be recommending the approval to award and negotiate to RL Road for the renovation of that building for CTE purposes.
Any comments, concerns, or clarification needed on this item?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Ms.
if I
Casas.
may, Dr. Hinojosa, how many other times have we done business with this company?
RL Road, they have provided renovations for our parking lots. So I know that they were a part of this the renovation for this particular parking lot project, and also the most recent one that we had with the police department in McCollum, the extension of the 800 right there by the baseball field, and also Collier.
Thank you, Dr. Hinojosa.
Any other comments, concerns, or clarification needed? Mr. Soto?
Mr. Chair, Board of Trustees, Mr. Tony, can I comment on the amount that we're about to spend that leaves us some money left over for our bonds? Because this is all part of the bond.
So it's related to which particular project or which agenda item?
This item right here that
This item.
we're about to spend an estimated $2 million.
Well, go ahead and as you go, if
cut
there's
me off?
something out of line, yeah, I'll cut you off if I, if I think there's
We have to
something.
look for a new law firm then.
Yeah. But if it's related, it should be fine.
Mr. Chair and Board of Trustees, I just wanted to make the point that us renovating one of our buildings, that is one of the newer buildings, we set aside to our community $20 million for a CTE building. And of the 20 million, the cost is coming in at 2 million, and then minus the cost of the architect, we should be getting back at least 15 million that's going to go back to the bond, and for us to be able to use it in other facilities that we have here at Harlandale that there is a need. And so basically a repurposed campus is going to save us $15 million. Is that okay?
Well, thank you for sharing and clarifying that, sir. I know that was one of the pieces in discussing those repurposing aspects last year. So it's good to now see some of that come to fruition. All right. So any other comments, concerns, clarification needed on this piece? All right. Moving on to item 18, which is the board will review and discuss a district-wide two-way messaging system from Apogee Rooms via TIPS Purchasing Cooperative Contract number 23015 for a 1-year contract for an estimated cost of $64,550. Funding will be from the fund balance of the general fund. Mr. Soto?
Yes, Ms. Vieira?
Good afternoon, Board of Trustees. Today, we would like to propose and recommend the purchase of a two-way messaging platform in order to standardize communication between our teachers, staff, parents, and students. Currently, the district does not have any oversight over the communication and conversations that are taking place between our teachers, staff, parents, and students because our staff members are using different free platforms or no platforms at all, which pose significant safety and accountability risk for students and staff. The platforms being used retain all ownership of all messages and information exchanged. This not only compromises our control over our communication, but also raises concerns about data privacy and security. To mitigate these risks and regain control over our communication infrastructure, we propose the implementation of Rooms from Apogee. This platform offers a solution that addresses our specific needs. One of the critical issues we face is the inability to promptly revoke access to messaging platforms when a staff member leaves our district. With Rooms, we can address this concern by enabling swift and efficient access control measures. This feature alone significantly reduces safety risk and ensures better accountability within our educational community. One of the other things that we believe is important that Rooms has that other platforms do not have is that the messages will come directly from our district app. The messages will not come from third-party vendors, so when a parent or student receive a message, it will come from Harlandale ISD and not from a third party. Other platforms that are free to use send advertisements to the users and ask them to pay for extra services. With Rooms, our users will not be getting any advertisements and they will not have to pay extra to access information that pertain to their students. In terms of cost, Rooms is $64,550. The one-time development fee will be $22,500 and the annual cost will be $42,050. We believe that investing in rooms from Apogee is the right choice for our district as it addresses our immediate concerns regarding safety and accountability. Thank you.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Any comments, concerns, or clarification needed on this item?
Yes, I'm
Ms. Ortiz?
terribly sorry. You'll have to forgive my ignorance. Can you give me an example of what it was that led us to this? What was happening that led us to this?
Great question. We had a situation, pretty alarming with, if I was a teacher of record and went with one of these free apps, which could be Class Dojo, Remind, the district had no control of me communicating with children. And let's just say I was not an upstanding teacher and I got released for doing something inappropriately. I still had communication piece with those students, even when I was not an employee of the district. And so in this manner, the educator, the teachers, the staff can only communicate with students where we, the district, has control, and we can cut off communication if need be, and we can monitor it easier.
So here's another question. How are we going to monitor? How can we ensure that they will participate 100% and not also be using those other ones that they're already used to? So we could potentially have this one, but what's going to keep them from using something that they're already familiar with?
Dr. Salinas, I'm sure we have something in policy that already tells them about communicating.
Yes, sir. We have policy right now that's very specific that if you communicate with a student, you must include a parent and also hours of communication. So there should be no communication after 8 p.m. unless it's an emergency. For example, we have to cancel a practice for the next day, or we have to change the time of a game. What we'll do is if this gets approved, then yes, we will create an administrative regulation that will add to our board policy that will be very specific, saying if you're going to communicate with parents or students at Harlandale ISD, you must use the district selected platform and not use anything else that's going to cause like
Class Dojo.
yes, Class Dojo or giving ads and potentially cost something to parents. We would put that in the regulations.
Okay, but there wouldn't be anything that would keep them from doing that. So I know so many teachers use that Remind, but it's a one-way communication on the Remind app, or at least that's what they use over here. The coaches and they use over here because it's one way. They don't get any comments back. And so I just want to know, there's no way for us to know, right? There's really no way unless somebody reports them.
Correct. If somebody
Okay.
reports
I was just wondering.
All right, thank you. And I guess, Ms. Pereira, if you can, I know Mr. Soto kind of alluded to it as well. With the district app, is that our current district app? Would it be embedded with it? Because I like the aspect of how it could help with parent engagement and those other components that we're trying to definitely attract. So I don't know if you can elaborate a little bit
Sure.
on how that will be kind of embedded within.
Yes, it will be through our current district app. And so if we do go with this, all parents that download the app will have an extra button on their app that will say rooms, and they can click on there and then they can see their students' names and what classes they are, their teachers that are associated with the classes. So everything will be downloaded from our ISS program platform.
So hypothetically, this should increase parental awareness and the usage of our app to where they should have no ifs, ands, or buts of like, I did not get that message. I did not get this information. And it would make it better to also have access versus saying we have bad phone numbers, we have inaccurate emails, we would have direct access to the parent guardian of those students.
Absolutely, yes. And it definitely will help us with our branding as well, because we will make sure that everybody has the district app.
Okay, well, that's actually pretty exciting to know, because that is something that will be a huge piece to continue to promote all the wraparound services that are provided and just the day-to-day stuff that are occurring. So that's a good thing to have. Anyone else have any comments, concerns, or clarification needed? Yes, Mr. Lewin.
I'm basically thinking globally that this is just like the way that we control our email now is basically we're going to use this new platform to do the same thing as far as communicating, right? Basically, it's an upgrade of communication system. So we do control our email already. Because I know when I got let go or I resigned, or I retired, that they cut my email off like choom. Then I got on the board and just put your email back on, and everything was still there. So yeah, it's the same kind of process, same kind of thing, but just upgrade.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
All right, well, wonderful. Thank you, sir. Any other comments, concerns, or clarification on this item? All right, well, thank you guys for presenting that. Moving on to item 19, the board will review and discuss the request to order 2,500 Wi-Fi Chromebooks from the Intech Southwest LLC, utilizing the Region 20 Cooperative Contract Number 222. The estimated cost is $860,000. Funding is from the FCC's Emergency Connectivity Fund Program, Window 3. Mr. Soto?
Yes, Mr. Chair, Board of Trustees. Dr. Salinas, are you going to have Ms. Soto presenting?
Ms. Martinez is actually online.
Okay. So we're gonna,
So whenever Ms. Martinez is ready, hopefully they can unmute her.
and,
Should be good.
and Mr. Chair will be the next three items, 19, 20, 21.
So as soon as you're ready, Ms. Martinez, you can review the next items 19 through 21, which deal with the cooperatives for the different Chromebooks.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me there?
That's,
Hello?
can hear you.
Okay, perfect. Good evening, Mr. President, members of the board, and Superintendent Soto. Thank you, first of all, for allowing me to present the following three consent items remotely. The district now has a tremendous opportunity to continue to provide one-to-one mobile devices to our students. The Federal Communications Commission's Emergency Connectivity Fund is a $7 billion program that was established to help schools provide the tools and services that their communities need for remote learning. Window 3 of this fund is aimed to provide relief in closing the homework gap for students who lack the necessary devices needed to connect from outside the school. Tonight, we ask that you please consider and approve the request to order 2,500 HP Wi-Fi enabled Chromebooks from Intech Southwest for distributions to students in grades 2nd through 12. The estimated cost for the 2,500 Chromebooks needed to support this initiative is $860,000. Funding for these Chromebooks will be paid directly to Intech Southwest from the ECF. We also ask that you please consider and approve the request to order 3,000 LTE Wi-Fi enabled Chromebooks from Computer Technology Link Corporation, again utilizing the FCC's Emergency Connectivity Fund Program, Window 3. The estimated cost for the 3,000 Chromebooks needed to support this initiative is $1.2 million. Funding for these Chromebooks will be paid directly to CTL from the ECF. Thirdly, we ask that you please consider and approve the purchase of 1,000 iPads, protective cases, and a 3-year warranty from Apple Inc. in the amount of $377,950. This is actually from local funds, but with the understanding that the Emergency Connectivity Fund grant program will reimburse the total amount to the district before payment is due. The purchase will be through the utilization of a financial agreement with Apple, which will delay payment until August of 2024 to provide us the opportunity to receive the expected reimbursement from the Universal Service Administrative Company, or USAC, which is the organization that manages the ECF grant. If these three items are approved, the students of Harlandale ISD will receive, utilizing the FCC's Emergency Connectivity Fund Program, Window 3, access to use 6,500 mobile devices with a total value of $2,437,950 at zero cost to the district. Thank you for your leadership and consideration.
Thank you, Ms. Martinez. Are there any comments, concerns, or clarification needed on this piece?
Mr. Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Martinez, my question was, can you explain to us, and to us, I mean the community as a whole, what it means to get funding from the FCC, and you did it. You did it very, very well. when you said 0 funds will come from the district. We will pay absolutely nothing from this because we will be able to get this from these funds. We will have to get reimbursed, but that should not be a problem. And I just want the community to know you all are working extremely hard to make sure that our students have the top of the line, the latest and greatest, so that they can be the greatest in our district and in their future endeavors. And I thank you for always making sure to find what is out there to service the needs of our children at no expense to the district and its taxpayers. So thank you, Ms. Martinez, and your team.
Yes, ma'am. My
All
pleasure.
right. Thank you for sharing that, ma'am. And Mr. Soto, I don't know if there was able to kind of get the number that we're at now with all the relatively new devices that our students have access to as is later. I don't know, Ms. Martinez, would you have a number of, because I know we've had other programs recently that we've utilized as well to share to the community that, hey, we're at the point of having relatively 80% of our devices that are less than 6 years, 6 months old type of thing.
Yes, sir. Well, actually, the devices that we have, the district considers an end-of-life device after the end of a 5th year. The federal government considers it at the end of the 3rd year. And so currently, every student has been issued a device that is less than 4 years old, let's say, because they're past the 3 years, which is why we were able to take advantage of Windows 3. But we can get you that exact number.
All right, perfect. Because I know we just had some recent adoptions as well and utilization. So it's great to know that you guys are actively pursuing these types of grants to provide our kids with the most up-to-date technology at their fingertips. So thank y'all, as was mentioned by our colleagues here. Any other comments, concerns, or clarification needed on this piece?
Yes,
Yes, Ms. Ortiz?
Mr. President. Mr. Soto, perfect time for a press release, or at least put it on our website so that the parents will see that. A lot of times they don't hear. They're not tuned in to our board meetings, or they don't make note of it. And I'd like for our community to know that Miss Martinez is on it. She knows, and she's out there getting what we need. And it's under your leadership that she's able to do that. And we appreciate that you're going out there and getting what we need for our kids over here in the Harlandale Independent School District on the south side of town. That might not necessarily, those kids on the north side, say here and there, all those, I hear from those parents from the Little League that don't want to come over here to the south side if it's after 6 o'clock or when it gets dark because they're afraid and they think that their kids have all the best of everything. Well, I know differently. I know the Harlandale Independent School District is doing what it needs to do to make sure that our students are prepared, not only in the classroom, but they're going to be prepared for life. Thank you, Mr. Soto, for everything you do. Thank you for Miss Martinez for everything that you do and your team.
My pleasure, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Any other comments, concerns, clarification needed?
Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir. Mr.
Ms.
Soto.
Ortiz, thank you for that. And I would have to ask Ms. Martinez if she would want a press release, just because, as you see, it's window 3. And I think the more we make noise, the more other school districts might get into some of our piggy bank there, because as I see some of our surrounding school districts, I see them paying some of these devices out of pocket. And so I commend Ms. Martinez for we had a draw this September, right, Ms. Martinez, the last one, we did a huge purchase, and we had one like a year before that. And so we've hit each window, and it's probably because some people just don't do the homework on looking for some of these grants. So I commend you and your department, Ms. Martinez.
Or
Thank you,
wait
sir.
till after we get our funding.
It's done, ma'am. It's done. It's money in the bank.
Well, thank you, guys. And if there's nothing further, then Ms. Martinez, thank you for joining us. We'll move on to item 22, which is the board will review and discuss the school safety phase 2 fencing project from Foster Fence utilizing buy board contract 657-21 at an approximate cost of $133,200. Funding will be from the maintenance tax note. Mr. Soto, I guess Dr. Nelson.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Chair and members of the board, so at this time, I'm going to have Mr. Eric Forstier, the Emergency Management Officer, present the information for the phase 2 of our fencing.
Good evening, Board of Trustees, Superintendent Soto, Ms. Castleberry, Cabinet. I'm here today to review the phase 2 of our fencing project. Our phase 1, just to catch you up, was our inner perimeter. And now phase 2 is our outer perimeter. So basically the schools that would affect would be Stonewall Flanders, McCullum High School, Kingsborough Middle School, Vestal Elementary, Harlandale High School, and Tara Wells Middle School. So those are the 6 campuses that would be affected with our phase 2. Once we've completed our phase 2, we will have a inner perimeter that's secure along with an outer perimeter.
All right, any comments, concerns, or clarification needed on this piece?
Mr. Excuse me, Mr. Forestier or Coach,
Yes.
can you tell me what were those campuses again? Can you
The
repeat?
campuses, ma'am, were Stonewall Flanders, McCullum High School, Kingsborough Middle School, Vestal Elementary, Harlandale High School, and Tara Wells Middle School.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Ms. Cavazos?
Yes. Hi, Coach. How
Hi,
are you?
wonderful.
Can you just explain a little bit? We know, but I want the community to know, why are we doing this project?
This is part of our safety package that's been brought down from TEA. And it's actually, we have our access control through our district, our single access control point of entry, which is a single entry, but they're also requiring us to have fencing a perimeter. And just like you guys know, the more perimeters you have, the safer our kiddos are going to be. So right now on every campus, we would have 2 perimeters of fencing around our campuses.
Thank you. I
Yes, ma'am.
appreciate that.
All right, any other comments, concerns, clarification needed on this item? Yes, Mr. Luna.
Mr. Forster, the only really concern I had is that this is more of like a delay kind of in the sense. I mean, if there's a military operation going against the school, it's not going to stop. The fence is not going to stop that, but this is like the initial, at least to get our eyes and security on those situations and be able to delay, someone coming on the campus, correct? It's not like.
You are correct, sir. They're just barriers, and all the barriers do is they buy us time for our law enforcement to be able to get there. Typically, it was a 3-minute time for law enforcement to get to our campuses. Now that we have a officer on every campus, it should be more like 30 seconds.
That's what I was just wondering, because I saw the one that Avanza put on Stonewall, and it's like, wow, okay, it's interesting, but somebody wants to jump it or crane or whatever, they can get over it, but that was still buy us enough time to
Yes, sir.
react.
You are correct. Yes, sir.
Yes, Ms. Cavazos?
Thank you, sir. And we are having to do this so that we can comply with TEA requirements.
That is correct. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Ms. Reese?
Coach Forestier, these are chain link fences.
They are
correct?
correct. Yes, ma'am. They are, yes, all chain link galvanized.
All right, any other comments, concerns, or clarification needed on this item? No? All right, well, thanks, Coach Forestier, Dr. Nosa. Thank you guys for providing
Thank you for
that.
your time.
Yes, sir. All right, so moving on, but before item 23 adjourn, I know we are having our cultural arts fair this coming weekend, and it's always a great sense of pride for us here at Harlandale ISD. So hopefully we can continue. I know there's a countdown going on our social media on different platforms. So we're readily excited for that and really excited to see all our community members out there. Mr. Soto, I don't know if you wanted to share anything about what you were going to let us have for to pass out to our community members.
Oh, yes, Miss Patty has a little gift for you guys, but just in case y'all might forget it, I'd rather her give them to you guys Saturday morning at the descendant ceremony, and then you could pass them out during the parade.
This is a great piece that Ms. Berea was able to put together, Ms. Mariana. So croc charms, and those are all the rage with kids. So, give them any croc charms and they'll put them on there somehow. So another great way to promote our students from head to toe. So Ms. Cavazos, before we adjourn?
Yes, before we adjourn, I just want to make a comment. in case we have community that's logging in and watching us now, or they will recorded meeting, there are times when you will notice that we hear a presentation and we take notes, and sometimes we ask questions and sometimes we don't. Please do not misunderstand when we do not ask questions. We get this information prior to the work session. We read it, we study it. We will email Mr. Soto with any questions we have. I just want to make it very clear, us sitting here at these work sessions is to ask questions that we didn't already ask when we received this information last week. We come prepared, we come versed in the topics that we are going to be presented. So I want the community to know, we're not sitting here not asking, we're sitting here already informed and just getting a little bit more detail on that information, which may lead to just one or two more questions. But we are diligent in being prepared, being versed, and have already asked for information by emailing our superintendent. I just want to put that out there.
All right, thank you, Ms. Cavazos, for clarifying that. Yes, Mr. Luna?
Yes, sir. I didn't get to share. I know I did. I've done most of my training if beyond required of me. But one of the most interesting things I found on this trafficking, I want to share with the community is that I learned, and I just Googled it right now. It says, how do I get an address from a picture on my iPhone? I didn't realize that bad people and good people, but bad people use photos that you sent, indiscriminately to locate where you're at, and that's how they pick up on our kids and our students, and even you are vulnerable to this situation. So I think as a community, we need to be more aware of that's going on. I wasn't truly aware of that. I'm not too techno savvy, but that was very interesting that that's one of the way traffickers and drug dealers and stuff find out information from where you're at. Cause sometimes you go like, how do you find out where I was at? And that's how they do it, is through your picture, because your picture has an address. So that's a very cautionary thing to learn when you're sharing information. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir, for providing that info. Any other comments or concerns before we move on?
Mr. Chair? I'm sorry.
Ms. Reese and then Mr. Soto.
Before we adjourn, on behalf of the board, the cabinet, and the district, we'd like to wish Coach Forestier a happy birthday.
Hey.
Thank you for everything you do.
Mr. Soto, if you may.
Just to piggyback off Ms. Cavazos very well said. We got some emails this week on our CNI portion that has extended our CNI presentations. As you can see, the student outcomes percentages. So we thank the board that is sending us questions ahead of time. So CNI is spot on. So we kind of just don't play got you kind of with our staff members. So it makes us a little more prepared, and our presentations go a little smoother on Monday's board meeting. So I do thank you, and thank you, Ms. Cavazos, for noticing that.
All right, great. Thank you, guys. I guess we'll go ahead and make the motion to adjourn. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Mr. Chair, really quick,
Ms. Ortiz?
Miss Patty, we had somebody from McCollum High School Esports that won the biggest esport competition. And it was somebody from McCollum that was the team from McCollum won, is going to state. And we had one individual that really did well. But anyway, Jairo Castro. So anyway, if you didn't know, we're going to state.
All right, so if congratulations, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Mr. Chair, I move to adjourn.
All right, motion to adjourn by Ms. Reese. We have a second.
I second.
Second by Ms. Cavazos. We'll go ahead and call for the vote, please. All right. All right, we can go ahead and close the vote. We are now adjourned. It is 7:19. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you soon.